right, Joe Girardi coming up this half hour. I gave you both lineups already for tonight. We'll take you right up until we go down to Houston, then all of the action from the pregame, and then, of course, all the Yankee action on the Fan tonight at 8 o'clock as we get ready for a Game 6 with Verlander against Severino. Let me go around the league in the NFL, and then later on I'll give you some picks for week number 7. The Jets and the Dolphins meet. The Dolphins amazingly came back and beat the Falcons last week. Unbelievable they won that game. You know, they've been knocking Cutler like crazy down there. He doesn't want to play and everything else. They're not scoring any points, but they have been able to win games, which is remarkable. Though of the Jets, this figures to be a very low-scoring, defensive kind of game. It's been that for these two. You would expect that with these two here. I'd be surprised the Jets won this game, but I think they should be in it. I really do. I don't know if they'll win it, but they should be in it. Giants are fascinating here. If the Giants win this game, they're going to start to think they really have some fuel in their tank. They're going to really think they can get something running. It's going to be interesting to see. Their defense showed up last week for the first time. The moves they made on the offensive line created a little more of a running game, and the Seahawks have been very poor against the run so far. Teams are averaging almost 5 yards a carry against them, so they should be able to run the ball. Darkwa ran the ball well last week. You got some interior blocking. Jones played well at center. Fluka gave them an inside blocking that was improved. So let's see if they can run the ball here. And they got to stay out of 3rd and long and stay away from the pass rush on 3rd and long here because Seattle can beat you with their pass defense, especially their secondary. So you got to watch them. They'll try to make plays there. This figures to be a low-scoring game also. With the Seahawks, who sure haven't been overly impressive this year. So we'll see if the Giants can make it 2 straight. The Giants underdog at home to the Seahawks. Jaguars and Colts. The Colts have shut down Luck. They're now 2-4 after losing that game against Tennessee last week. They were winning the game, and then Tennessee got 2 late touchdowns and wound up winning the game going away. The Jags, have had some really good days. They've had some really bad days. They've been very inconsistent. They should be able to run the ball here with Fournette. That should be the case if he's healthy. Now, his ankle has been a little iffy this week. You got to check on that. Game should go right to the wire. You'd have to think the Jags without, are the better team, although they have been very inconsistent. The Bucs and the Bills, that'll be interesting there. Watch this week with a lot of these games with the quarterback situation. You have to be paying attention because there's a lot of hurt quarterbacks. Now, remember, you have Winston out. You got Ryan Fitzpatrick. He stepped in and played well. So, Fitzpatrick can step in and do that. So, so he should. I wouldn't be surprised he lifts that Tampa Bay offense in the short term. That wouldn't surprise me. Bills' defense has played very well under Sean McDermott. They have played well at home. And they should be able to win this game. I would expect they do. I'll tell you the one thing, the Buffalo defense has played well. McDermott was a good coordinator, and that defense has played well every week this year. So you got to give them credit for that right now. We'll see. Their offense has been hit or miss. We'll see what happens there as they get ready for that game. The Ravens and the Vikings. The Ravens, the Vikings have had so many injuries, and, the quarterback thing is such an issue. The Ravens... It's just been, Flacco's been terrible. Their offense has just been so bad. I mean, you don't even want to make it the Ravens the way they've played the last couple of weeks. You know that? I would think that Minnesota wins that game. I mean, you would expect. He has an interesting game, the Saints and the Packers. The Saints looking to see if they can really get something going. They get the Packers at the right time. Obviously, the name you're going to hear now is Brett Hundley. You've heard Mike McCarthy say that he is very comfortable with Brett Hundley. He's been in that program for 3 years. They have tutored him. He's not like he doesn't understand the offense. Now, you can't ask him to be Aaron Rodgers. Nobody is Aaron Rodgers. And that's what you want to see. How much of the Packer explosiveness, how much of the Packer imagination can they have without the brilliance, the improvisational brilliance of their wonderful quarterback who is now on the shelf for the rest of the year. Breeze has been playing well. Not easy to win there, but I would not be surprised if the Saints win. Now, here's an amazing thing to show you. And this way, if a guy goes out of the lineup, there's no movement in the line. You take the quarterback out of the lineup. This game would have been Green Bay 6. This game is Saints 4 in Green Bay. 10-point swing in the lines. 10 points. That's what it is. Without Rodgers there, it's a 10-point swing, that game. Instead of it being Green Bay 6, it is New Orleans 4. Think about how much 10 points they're saying he's worth in that game, which he probably is. Titans and the Browns. Titans come off a win. They should be able to win here. Browns aren't going to beat anybody. Browns are looking towards, I don't know how long Hugh Jackson gets. I like Hugh Jackson. I've known him a long time. I don't know how long he gets to keep doing this. I mean, he's won one game in 2 years. But it's just been crazy what's going on there. So Tennessee's going to beat them. The question is how many. Cardinals and Rams. Cardinals got a lift from having Peterson there. Plus, Carson Palmer had a good game. That's the first time the Cardinals have played well in a while. Rams have been improved. They got to stop the run here. They got to put some pressure on. But here's the difference. If Carson Palmer doesn't turn it over, they're a different team. But he usually turns it over. Last week he was good for a change. Interesting game, really is. I think got to favor the Rams, but that's not a game that you're going to go crazy about. As far as that's concerned, not a game that you're going to be absolutely a game that you're going to be really excited about from that standpoint. And that's the first game in London, I believe, ever. That's 1:00, right? Isn't that the first one? Or did they have any other? Am I missing one in the past that was 1:00? Was there a London game at 1:00, or is that the first one that's 1:00? The others have all been 9:30. Has there been one at 1:00 before that? Was the first one, I think, might have been at 1:00 the first time? I think maybe once there was one the first time, guys, that might have been the 1:00 game. Because this game's at 1:00, not in the morning, not at 9:30. So, but I think there might have been one in the past that was a 1:00 game. Broncos and Chargers. Chargers have shown some life of late. Broncos had coming off a nightmare. Do not be surprised if the Chargers win that game. Then you get the Cowboys and the Niners. Niners are in every game, and they lose. That's all you need to know. Ezekiel Elliott stays for a couple of weeks at least. C.J. Beathard is now, that's Bobby Beathard's grandson. If you remember Bobby Beathard, do you guys know as an example who Bobby Beathard is? Yes or no? No? Okay.
I don't know.
Bobby Beathard's an old famous general manager from the Washington Redskins. Blonde-haired guy, was a surfer. Buddy was George Young before your guys' time. But he was a big-time general manager. His grandson is now the quarterback of the Niners. C.J. Beathard is now the quarterback. So it's kind of like just it's if you've been around the NFL a long time, you know the name and you know what he meant, what Bobby Beathard meant to the league and everything. So that's why it's just an interesting thing that his son is now running the team. But the Niners find a way to lose by 2 or 3 points every week, but they lose, so they'll probably lose to the Cowboys. And then you have the Sunday night game, the Falcons and the Pats. Giants Dolphins was 1:00. Okay. Falcons and the Pats, a remake of the Super Bowl. New England's defense, awful. I did not think losing their offensive coordinator would be a big deal. I think I'm going to have to amend that for Atlanta. A lot of people thought, oh, you watch. It's all because of the coordinator that everything clicked last year. He had all the trains running right. Well, you know what? They've had everything running wrong this year. They've made big mistakes. They haven't clicked late. They haven't been crisp. Last year they were lethal. The only game they showed that this year was the Green Bay game. I really think they missed their coordinator, and this coordinator has not done the job. And let's see what happens as they get to take on this New England team, which has got no defense. Atlanta should be able to attack them. Julio Jones should have a huge game. But they'll also score a bunch of points. So this could be an out-and-out shootout. And I tell you, this is going to raise all the wounds all week. All Atlanta's going to hear about and think about is the fact that they blew a 28-3 lead in the Super Bowl. That's all they're going to think about all week. This is the week that's going to ratchet up. Now, forget last week that they lost a game they should have won. Forget that Matt had the tie in his back pocket and threw a pick across the middle in the final seconds when he was on the 23-yard line, and that he's making too many mistakes, and that he's not getting the ball to Julio Jones in the proper place, and all the different things. But this is going to remind them that they were up 28-3 with 3 minutes left in the third quarter in the Super Bowl, and they lost. So we'll see if they can take it out on the Pats. I don't know if they can. I just don't know if they're good enough defensively to do anything themselves. That game could come down to the last one with the ball, wins it, whether it's Ryan, whether it's Mr. Brady. It could be that kind of thing. One of those teams is going to be off to a very disappointing start, as one of them is going to have 3 losses in the first half of the season, and I wouldn't have expected either of them to have 3 losses in the first half of the season, so I would have been dead wrong about the loser of this game this week, because I wouldn't have thought either one would have 3 losses for the first half of the season. And then the Monday night game is a good one. Washington, dangerous. Philly, more than dangerous. So good matchup there, quarterback matchup there, all the different stuff. So really that should be an interesting game. So you have Detroit and Houston are open. You have the Jets at Miami, Seattle at the Giants. The Sunday night game's Atlanta, New England. The Monday night is Washington at Philly. And that's your Sunday. And you're either going to be coming off maybe a Game 7 Saturday night, hopefully a very positive Friday or Saturday, and you're thinking about getting ready to and thinking about it ahead to the World Series and having a football Sunday, or your football season has begun in New York for certain because things didn't go well for 2 days in Houston. We'll have picks later on. When we come back in just a few minutes, Joe Girardi will join us.